When I walked into work this morning, someone had ESPN on, and they were talking more about the 3-win Jets than the 5-5 Broncos. So if you are looking for an outlet that will actually talk about real good football, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel because we're going to keep you guys informed and entertained all year long on your Denver Broncos. I thought we could all use a little bit of a break from reliving the blunder that was Week 10 in Kansas City and talk about maybe something a little bit off the grid right now because I came across an ESPN article which highlighted 25 free agents to watch for in March, which is definitely a ways down the road, but they had Garett Bolles on that list. So I thought you guys might enjoy what their insiders had to reveal and say about the Broncos left tackle. So Bolles, if you don't know, is on the final year of a contract. I mean, kudos to him. We see so many players when they get into the final year of their deal hold out. I mean, Courtland Sutton wasn't showing up to offseason workouts, and he has 2 years left on his deal. Bolles has played through a final year of his contract with no money guaranteed left for the most part, and he has been, I mean, not a prisoner about it. He has been an awesome foot soldier and someone you'd want to get in a trench with and get in a foxhole with. So Bolles, though, is getting up in the age column, and I could see a world where the Broncos look at a 33-year-old player as someone not to make a worthy long-term investment in. So let's discuss what Jeremy Fowler had to say about the future of the Broncos left tackle. Bolles is expected to play out the season and then decide whether to stay in Denver on a new deal or look elsewhere. An ideal time to reach an extension was over the past summer, but nothing materialized. Considering the scarcity of equality tackles league-wide, Bolles will have several suitors, but he has expressed a desire to play for the Broncos for the rest of his career, which could help facilitate a deal. I am open to a contract extension, and Bolles wanting to be a Bronco for life should make this relatively easy, but we often know that things are never as easy as they seem in sports. But Bolles has been through a lot of really bad seasons in Denver, and just as things start to get better under Sean Payton, I don't think he's looking for the eject button and let me go play somewhere else for $5 million more, but they won 5 games last season. That, to me, doesn't seem like something Garett Bolles wants to do after playing only losing football his entire career. He has never experienced a winning season. So if he gets that this year, and he's always been a Mountain West type of guy, went to college in Utah, from Utah, got drafted 1 state over, I'm guessing he'd be very, very happy to stay with the Broncos, even if the Jags offer him a little bit more money to be their new left tackle. Bolles, by the way, is having an outstanding season. PFF ranks him 14th out of 76 qualifying tackles. I mean, I thought maybe at the age of 30 plus with a broken leg back in 2022 against the Raiders, that might be the end of the Garett Bolles at the top of the mountain days, but he's honestly come back from that leg injury better than what he was before. I mean, look at his career PFF ranks, 14th this year, 19th last year, unable to qualify in 2022 compared to 24th in 2021. The guy's aging like a fine wine. I mean, look around the league. We see a lot of really good offensive linemen play some of their best football when they are in their 30s. They start to have a better understanding of the game, and so much of the job of being a left tackle is just studying and learning the habits of the pass rusher you're going up against to take away their number one move. And Bolles has been an awesome student of the game, so for a lot of reasons, I'm on board with bringing him back. I know turning 33 years old in May is not going to be a desirable thing to sign someone to, but I'm willing to look past that because he's playing great at 32. He's played great at 31. I mean, the usual drop-off is 30, and he has not dropped off. So I don't see why at 33 he's going to become all of a sudden the league's worst left tackle. So let me know. Would you re-sign Mr. Bolles? Let me know in the comment section below. Give me a yes or no. I'm typing yes, but I do want to hear from everyone watching. The only way and the only reason I could see Denver letting him walk is money, which, on a side note, that's never been an issue for the Broncos. If you didn't see, they just trucked in a brand new field, 3rd time under this ownership, third consecutive year, that halfway through the season, if not later, they have unveiled a new playing turf, a awesome Kentucky grass. I mean, there's no other ownership in the NFL that's doing it like the Walton Penner Group, so we are spoiled. But yeah, money, the salary cap is real, but in terms of guaranteed dollars, that'll never be an issue for Denver, which it is an issue for a team like the Cincinnati Bengals because they can't afford all their players because they simply can't afford them. Now, before we look at the rest of today's video, I do want to give you a quick shout out to our sponsor today, Prize Picks. That is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. So Prize Picks does something really cool called Taco Tuesday, which it takes the stat projections and lowers them for you. So this is an example of what Taco Tuesday was like this past Tuesday. But here are my selections for this upcoming Sunday. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. All of that information is in the comments and description of today's video. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. So let's get in the weeds for just a little bit here. I know it's kind of boring and dry, but let's talk about the money side of things because the salary cap is real. The Broncos are currently projected to have the 14th most cap space in 2025 at $56.4 million. Now, whenever we look at that number, it's important to factor in you have to pay your draft picks. The Broncos are going to have a first-round draft pick, and all those salaries are already predetermined, and it's probably going to run them about $14-ish million, maybe a little bit more than that. Let's air at 15, call it an even number. So at $15 million, you're going to have a little under $40 million to spend, which would be enough to re-sign Garett Bolles, but it may not be enough to re-sign Garett Bolles and make a bunch of other signings if that's what they want to do. Now, keep in mind, they're also doing this while also managing the third biggest dead cap hit next season at $32.2 million. After this upcoming 2025 year, the Broncos are completely out of the woods for the Russell Wilson contract failure. This is the last year, 2025 is the last year of having some dead money to eat from Russell Wilson. Now, what could a contract for Garett Bolles look like? I thought a good starting point would be to compare other 30-plus-year-old tackle contract extensions. Trent Williams got one before the season began. He's the best left tackle in football. At 36 years old, he got a 3-year, $82.6 million deal. I don't expect Bolles to get this much, but this at least gives you a rough idea as to what do 35-year-old tackles go for. Lane Johnson, 2 years ago, 2 years ago, he got a 4-year, $80 million extension with the Philadelphia Eagles. That paid him an average of 20.1. More recently, Teron Armstead, and I think this one's a little bit more in the neighborhood for Bolles. 32 years old when he signed his deal, 3-year, $38.6 million. So I feel like Bolles is kind of in between Lane Johnson and Teron Armstead. So this is my projection for him. We'll keep the math simple and easy. 3 years, $60 million. That's an average of $20 million a season. You guarantee a little over half of it. So the rule of thumb for me when evaluating long-term contracts is subtract 1 year and then apply that to the guaranteed money. So it's basically a 2-year, $35 million deal. For the right price, I'd absolutely bring back Bolles. Like I said earlier, am I looking to back the Brinks truck up? Probably not, just given the age, but the age is not that big of a deterrent for me. Like, I don't know if Denver should go out and make him the highest paid tackle in football. That's probably a little bit of a stretch, but I don't think Bolles is looking to become the highest paid tackle in football. I also think it's really important for Denver to bring him back because they've got some great continuity building at that offensive line. I mean, this O-line this year has been a top 5 O-line of football, in my opinion. The weakest link is probably the slight rotation at center with Wattenberg going down and Forsythe coming in, now going back to Wattenberg after missing 4 games. But, I mean, Forsythe did a really solid job filling in at center, not so much on special teams. But look around. I mean, the rest of the offensive line has been playing incredible football. In fact, if we look at what is a composite score amongst ESPN and a couple other offensive line outlet rankings, the Broncos come in at number 1. If I told you 3 years ago the Broncos had the best O-line of football via composite score from multiple outlets, you would not have believed me. You would have said, no way, Garett Bolles gets too many penalty calls. We have no direction at right tackle, which has been a revolving door for 7, 8 years if I told you 2 years ago. Instead, they've got Mike McGlinchey locked down long-term. They've got a rising star in Quinn Miners. They brought Ben Powers over in free agency, and if his worst crime is being middle of the pack, you're doing pretty well as an offensive line. So I am on board with bringing Bolles back for a handful of reasons. Another one to add to the list is if you do let him walk in free agency, I would think left tackle becomes your first-round pick. Who knows where the Broncos are going to be picking? I'm not going to try and estimate that. But I will say if you've got a rookie quarterback coming, well, at that point, second-year quarterback in Bo Nix, losing a cornerstone piece that protects his blind side like the left tackle, it's got to be the highest thing on your to-do list. And this is not the draft. It's still early in the pre-draft process, very early, but this is probably not the draft to let a left tackle walk in free agency to then go to the draft to fix that problem. Mel Kiper puts out his big board updated rankings every week or so, and I want you guys to look at, he's got one guy in the top 15. Okay, this is this year. Go back to last year and Mel Kiper's big board rankings. He had 3 guys in the top 15. This is not the draft to let a left tackle walk in free agency and then go find his replacement in April. We have a long ways to go until the draft, but gut feeling is I don't think this is a good time for Bolles to walk and then go use your first-round pick on a left tackle that may not be as great of an overall prospect as you might like, but you are backed into a hole because you have to draft a left tackle because you didn't bring back Garett Bolles, and it really wouldn't make a ton of sense to let Bolles walk and then sign a different left tackle. So you were going to spend some money on the position, but you didn't want to spend that much money on it to go get a guy who has been playing incredible football for you since he got drafted. And, I mean, following his rookie year, he's been one of the most consistent left tackles out there. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I am against the idea of letting Bolles go. So what is the Broncos' biggest need for the 2025 draft? Get in the comment section. We'll end the video on this question right here. I want to hear from everyone watching down below. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Make sure to like the video if you have not already, and I'll see everyone tomorrow.